It is a great joy and honor to come into your homes with a message of empowerment and enlightenment. My name is Emmanuel Mensah, a co-founder of the Eagle Mentality Group. At the Eagle Mentality Group, we teach and propagate information about the power of thought, universal laws and principles, and how these laws and principles and our thinking pattern, our thought process, come together to form and shape our realities.
From the heart of Africa, a new way of thinking is rising. Like the eagle, we rise above limitations, seeing farther, thinking deeper, and becoming more. We are the Eagle Mentality Group, illuminating and transforming Africa through the power of thought.
Today, I take this opportunity to welcome you to our program, The Quest. And The Quest is simply the short form of the title of the program, which is The Quest for Uniform and Sustainable Development in Africa. Ghana as an example. I am using Ghana as an example because I'm a Ghanaian. I was born and raised in Ghana and grew up to the university level. I attained my first degree at the University of Ghana. As a matter of fact, I am a product of the political science of University of Ghana. And so whatever I'm saying is life experiences. But if there is any example elsewhere that we can incorporate into our discussion, I will do it willingly. I will leverage it. And so today, we are looking at how to bring uniform and sustainable development in Africa. But before we go on, I just want to appeal to you that even as you are listening to me, please click on the subscribe button, circulate these messages, and also let us come together to bring this message of empowerment and liberation, total development, beginning from the mind, such that what we have become in our minds will reflect in our outer life experiences. Life is simply a reflection. So you are reflecting whatever you are inside to the outside. That is why Jesus Christ said, you will know them by the fruit they are bearing. You see? And so today, that is all I have to say for you. Please click on the subscribe button. If you have already done that, I just want to appreciate you and say thank you for being such a wonderful contributor and such a wonderful colleague in this business. If you have anything that you want to say, if you have any question, please leave it in the comment section. But please, we are only taking positive and constructive suggestions and comments. We are not attacking anyone in any public office here. We use their names and their offices for analysis, but we are not attacking their personalities. That is a fact. So having done that, now let's move on to what I want to talk today. I am going to continue from where we started, and that is about principle. I'm going to talk to you about principle. And that is why Eagle Mentality will teach and propagate information about universal laws and principles. There are things that are principles and they are universal. And therefore, when you organize your life based on principle, your life will always have the better results. But if you're not, then it's like you are going against the tide. You see, if you go to a river, the natural thing is that a flowing river, if you have a canoe and you have your paddle or your whatever, the horse or whatever they call it, if you have it and you put it on the river, the flowing river, the natural this thing to do is to flow along or go along the flow of the river. If you turn against the flow of the river, then you are inviting challenges and difficulties. You may make some progress, but it is hard work. And that is how principles and some of the things that morals and other things that we apply in our lives are. If you are using morals and some of these personal feelings and inclination to do things, you are not going to get a result. Even you may get some little result, but it's hard work. But if you follow principles and apply the principle becomes the current that takes you forward. And so what we are talking about is the better attitude of the people in Africa, Ghana as an example. One of the key things that Africa faces is corruption. And so we argue and we insult one another that they are corrupt. This person say you are corrupt. This person say you are corrupt. But as we do this, this never ceases. It is the same thing that we are getting. So how do we get people who stand on principle such that when they are tempted, they will not fall? That is the only way to beat corruption. And that is the only way to improve the behavior and the quality of life of the people, or the attitude of the people. Principle keeps us in check. A principled person will not take bribe. A religious person, someone who organizes his life on religious and this traditional morals, may not take bribe. But when the thing is captioned in a certain way, he will take it. If it is not called bribe, but if the person goes that I've come to give contribution, they will take it. So you will see that even in our churches, politicians go and canningly they give money to the churches in the form of offertory. But as a matter of fact, if you look at what they are doing, they are buying votes. It's a bribe. It's bribery. But the principal person is the one that demands from the politician that comes to the church or comes to any place to present his or her own ideas to the people without even asking for any help, without even ready to accept any help from the politician. And so if you look at this, you realize that our downfall is based on the fact that we lack principles. And so today I'm going to use my life example, what I experienced in the United Kingdom. That changed my perspective. And then later on, move on into a point that what actually brought me into doing what I'm doing, how eagle mentality came about. There will be no time for me to go into that area, but I'm just going to present what I experienced in the United Kingdom. I graduated from the University of Ghana in the year 2000 and then left Ghana to United Kingdom, London, actually in the year 2001. Actually, I arrived in London, United Kingdom on 9/11. And so I arrived in the United Kingdom to study international relations. But when I got there, looking at things and what people were saying, I changed my mind. And therefore, I deferred my course and applied for a new program in a new university at the University of Westminster called Business Information Technology. And that is how I attained my Master's in Business Information Technology. And so as a student, by then in the United Kingdom, you are allowed to work only 20 hours a week. And so by then I was living in a place called Hounslow. And so I took a bus and traveled all the way to Chiswick. If you are in London, those who are in London knows what I'm talking about. If you have traveled to London and you've been to this area, you know what I'm talking about. So I traveled to Chiswick Job Center to look for a job. And I happened to find one of the adverts, which was for 21 hours. So I printed the receipts or the ticket. And then normally when you print it, you see the workers, and then they will help you to connect with the employer. Then they will link you and you go for the interview. And so I printed it and gave it to a lady. The lady, by then, she was just in around 18 to 20 or 21 years old. And so she looked at it and said, "Sir," and then she looked back at me and said, "Sir, this job is 21 hours. Now, may I know your status in the UK?" Then I said, "Oh, I'm a student." Then she said, "Sir, you cannot do this job. This job is for people who are not students." I tried to convince this lady that this is just 1 hour, but she said, "No, that is the law." And so she took it upon herself, stood with me at the station and helped me to look for jobs that are only 20 hours. So after that, I started thinking about what I experienced. How did this girl develop this attitude? When, as a matter of fact, where I was coming from, Ghana, if it were to be in Ghana, using the local language, the tree language, the person would just say, "Oh, what the 1 hour, it is just 1 hour, so take it and go." That is what we say. But this girl stood and prevented me from breaking the law. She said it was the law. This is the demonstration of people who have been trained to act on principle. And if this girl refused to accept all my explanations and therefore prevented me from taking that job, what would prevent her from refusing a bribe? Throwing rubbish on the floor, on the ground, whilst walking on the street. Nothing will come down. She will stand on her principle and do the right thing. You see? And so principles are what the Westerners have used to build their societies and communities. It is not religion necessarily. It is not religion. And even most of the things that we have in the Bible are principles. But it is only when we cover them in religion, then we relax them, we use them for our personal gains, you see. And so for us to get people who can behave from the bottom of the society to the top of the society, there is the need for us to bring in principle. This is my example. And I believe most of my brothers and sisters in the diaspora that are in this part of the world, they might have even, encountered higher and bigger experiences than what I'm saying. But what this example is telling you is that until we begin to build principles into our lives and act on principle, we will not go anywhere. It is not just that this is needed. It is not just that this has to be done, but it must be according to the law. And law is the manifestation of principle. And therefore, let us begin to move away from this mental attitude, the perspective of building our lives and everything of ours on religions, on traditions, and then build our lives on principle. Principles never change. And therefore, any man that builds his life on principle, that person will not change. As a matter of fact, there are a lot of things in this part of the world that even if you are at the point of death and you are not qualified, they will not give it to you. It's the law and it's the principle. But Africans, we don't have it. And that is why we see our systems, everything, crumbling, you see. And therefore, this is the time that we have to wake up. This is the time that we have to become awakened to the fact that life is simply the manifestation of or organizing and manifesting principles. You are a principled being, and it all begins with how you think and how you perceive things. When you place the common good of everyone at the center of your actions, at the center of your activities, you will always take decisions. You always act on principle that what is good for you is good for all other people. And what is good for all other people is equally good for you. Therefore, whatever you are doing, either in groups or individually, you are doing it as a service to one another. These are the principles that we need to build into ourselves and our children. It is not this kind of religions and other things that we're doing. As a matter of fact, I was a teacher in the United Kingdom. If you go to the public schools in the UK, in the morning, no one asks children to pray. Apart from maybe the Anglican and the Catholic schools. If you come to Canada here, in the public places, public schools, children don't pray. They don't do this bombardment that we do in Africa. But as a matter of fact, the children and the people in the advanced country, we turn around and say that they have a better attitude. So why are we not getting better attitude with all the prayers and the biblical quotations that we are spewing all the time? You see, so that tells you that life is not about religion. Life is not about tradition. Life is about basic principles that are fixed that we have to apply and go by. And so this is the time. This is the time. It is for you to judge. The people in Britain, they don't even go to church. Go to Britain, some of the church houses are even sold to Muslims and they've turned them into mosques. Some of the churches have been turned into warehouses. But the British man, on principle, will not throw rubbish on the ground. The British man, on principle, will not do anything that is against the law. But Africans, we go against our laws. We don't even respect what law is. So you see, look at these two things. So if you want to be like some people, if you want to get the right results, you must do the right thing, you see. And so principle is what we need. I have used this simple example. It may be simple and small, but it speaks volumes. And if we take this girl's attitude such that we place the nation, we place all the people, or the nation and our country, or the national interest as the priority, and therefore we are acting based on principle to protect our nation, to protect our national interest, we will get men and women that will move away from this loose life that we do things without considering the law. That is my message for you. A word to a wise is enough. This education is for everyone. It's for everyone. And when we bring principles in our lives, our leaders will no longer embezzle funds. They will not take the money for their common good and then make the society poor. But we will think of the common good of the ordinary men and women, everyone together. And therefore, we will do what is right on principle, and the results will be wonderful. You will know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And so now, once again, as you exit, please click on the subscribe button. Share these messages in your network. Let us come together, team up, and bring Africa, Ghana, to the states that all other people that we call developed are. Thank you, and God bless you.
Join, subscribe, follow, like, and share our content on YouTube and Facebook.